every cook must learn to govern the state. But how does one learn? Through the skills of self-governance. All of modern civilization is an ingenious system of distraction. A system designed to prevent a human from ever becoming truly human. Slavery never disappeared. It just changed its forms. We are told that the goal of humanity is technological achievement, spaceships, artificial intelligence, but this is a deception. These are children's toys compared to what a person is capable of, if viewed as a unity of body, spirit, and soul. The real universe that needs to be explored is not outer space. It is the microcosm of man himself. There, secrets and discoveries await that will change everything. But to look inside, you must first exit the matrix. How are the masses controlled? How are entire nations made to act against their own interests? Through a hierarchy of priorities. The lowest, most primitive priority is military weapons. At this level, we have always been victorious. We know how to fight and die. But there are higher priorities, far more formidable. The fifth priority is genetic weapons. This is alcohol, tobacco, drugs, harmful food. This is what destroys our genetic code, our health, our will. Look at the statistics. In recent decades, entire countries have been hooked on poisons, turning into nations of slaves who voluntarily pay for their own destruction. This was a global strategic operation. In some countries, under the pretext of health concerns, tobacco companies were squeezed out. In others, local factories were simultaneously closed to create a deficit and let in global monopolists. They remain in our markets even during wars because their mission is not business, but genocide. It was through genetic weapons that the indigenous peoples of America were destroyed. Not bullets, but alcohol broke their spirit. Today, the same scenario is playing out on a global scale. The fourth priority is economic. Through the global financial system, through the dollar, through credits and debts, entire states are controlled. The third priority is ideological. Through religions, media, culture, the values and meanings they need are imposed on us. The second priority is chronological. We are fed a false history so that we do not understand where we came from and where we are going. And finally, the first, highest priority is world view. Philosophy, the methodology of cognition. Whoever shapes our worldview controls everything. We are not losing on the battlefield. We are losing on the higher priorities. We fall for their terms like hybrid warfare, not understanding that this is just a smokescreen hiding a real multi-level war against humanity. What do break free from this? Change is possible only when each individual person changes. Not when something is invented at the top, but when millions of people at the bottom realize how they are being controlled. You need to understand that you are not living your own life. You are living in a labyrinth built for you. A tobacco labyrinth, an alcohol labyrinth, a food labyrinth, an information labyrinth. You are poisoning yourself and paying those who poison you. And when you realize this at your level, you will understand that the same algorithms operate at the country and civilization level. You have to start with yourself. Change yourself and the whole world will change. These are not empty words. This is a real algorithm. Imagine a country where people have given up alcohol and tobacco. It will be a fundamentally different country. A different culture, different family relationships, a different policy. And all this depends on the choice of each individual person. The information we provide is accessible at the high school level. It is incomprehensible only in terms of morality. People who are satisfied with the current state of affairs are not interested in it. But those who do not agree to live like this anymore understand it and understand that they need to start with themselves. Where does this understanding come from? It is not born alone. There is something that can be called an egregore. It is an information field that unites people with a similar worldview. They may not know each other personally, but they communicate at the egregorial level, exchanging ideas and forming a collective consciousness. The advantage of our time is that the personnel base for a new worldview has already been prepared. There are many people today who understand these processes. They are physicists, mathematicians, military personnel, ordinary workers. This is an egregorial community that is growing and strengthening. But how to distinguish truth from a beautiful lie, from an ideology, from a cult? A cult is when one thing is declared, but another is done by default. When they talk to you about enlightenment, but in reality, they take your money and your will. A person is endowed by God with a sense of measure and a sense of discernment, but they are granted only according to morality. A moral person feels when something deviates from the course of God's providence. They have no measuring rulers, only a conscience. Morality is not a quality of a person. It is a protocol of interaction with the world. For different people, for different cultures, these protocols may be different. You cannot impose your protocol on others. The task is not to line everyone up in one column, but to harmonize the interaction of different communities. Let each nation live as it sees fit. The only judge for it is God and the objective laws of being. If a nation observes them, it will develop. If it violates them, it will disappear, like the mammoths. The key to discernment is the measure of understanding. The higher your measure of understanding of the processes taking place, the harder it is to deceive you and drag you into a cult or a destructive ideology. And for this, you need to study not just the last 100 years, but the deep processes that have been going on for thousands of years. Let's return to the microcosm of man. Food is a program, one of the most powerful. Notice how much money is invested in the propaganda of food. Cooking shows, chef battles, monastery cuisine. This is not for nothing. We are deliberately kept in this program. What if we can live differently? A person has two channels for receiving energy. The first is from food through the gastrointestinal tract. When it works at 100%, other channels are silent. But if its load is reduced, 4 other alternative channels begin to awaken. The first channel is receiving energy from the ether, according to Tesla's mechanism. Each of our 36 trillion cells is a complex mechanism capable of absorbing energy directly from the surrounding space, if the cell is clean. The second channel is autolysis. Our body is capable of breaking down old, worn-out cells into amino acids and using them to build new ones. It feeds on what it no longer needs, like a tadpole feeding on its tail when it comes out on land. The third channel is myokines. When muscles contract, organic substances are released, the most powerful neurotransmitters that regulate the activity of the entire body. You can feed on them. Therefore, when refusing food, powerful physical exertion is necessary. If you don't eat and lie down, you will die. The fourth channel is nitrogen and carbon dioxide. There are microorganisms capable of converting them into food proteins, and man, as a part of nature, also has this property. But for these channels to open, you need to change not the gastrointestinal tract, but the consciousness. This is not advice on changing your lifestyle. This is research. This is a path for a few, for enthusiasts ready for hard and dangerous work. For an ordinary person, trying to refuse food without years of preparation is fatal. First, you need to switch the program in your consciousness. Can a person in the modern world, burdened with debts, credits, and problems, be truly sovereign? To be in society and be independent of it is impossible. Sovereignty is not independence. It is understanding. Understanding all the factors, all the limitations, and acting adequately within those limitations. You don't do what you want. You take everything into account and act based on your understanding, not because you have been made into a puppet. Mentally, you can be free because you have understood everything. What makes a person unprogrammable? Awareness. You need to understand who I is. A person is not just a bipedal animal without feathers. It is a unity of body, spirit, and soul. Our soul is an ethereal essence, a particle of God, and it is capable of solving very serious problems. How to come to this understanding? The path is difficult and almost impossible without a mentor, but the main thing is the desire to change oneself when you see that something is wrong in this kingdom. What does it mean to live a godly life? It is not belonging to any particular confession. It is 3 simple principles. Do no harm to yourself, because you are a creation of God. Do no harm to others, and do no harm to the universe. If a person lives by these principles, they cannot but feel support from above. You just need to take the first step, and then coincidences will start to happen to you. Accidental meetings, accidental books, accidental hints. But these are not coincidences. This is the language in which God speaks to you. And each of us has our own, unique, like fingerprints.